Turn
the lights down. Do you want some ambiance and have the lights turned down? Dawn's got them.
Whoa, that's a little dark.
That's a little dark, so
That's
right
all right.
Is that?
All right, we're on. So,
Let's do the fog lights.
let's do the other lights
lights.
instead. Yeah. So we're working on the lights here. Here we go.
Can people hear us now?
Yeah, they can hear us. They can see
why
us.
does it say
Play with the
mute?
lights.
I think she said
It's
there's a
not
learning
muted.
opportunity to hear the teacher where the other lights
But
are.
it says mute.
Turn them down, there's a slide dinner someplace. Beautiful.
That's better. Okay. Yeah, there we go. Now we got that nice theater feel to it. Perfect. Okay.
Higher, lower, up.
So you've got our cameras on.
Yeah, everything's on.
Oh,
Everything's live.
hi.
Yeah. Live stream is watching us
stream
play
is
with the lights right
watching
now.
us.
So.
But don't worry, we'll mostly make them watch the screen.
Exactly,
instead
right?
of
Yeah.
us.
Are you not entertained tonight? Well, I'm glad you all are here. So I'm Pastor Rick, you know me, and then my wife's here too.
Pastors Serena, hi. Thanks for coming out tonight. See you here.
So this is week one of our 5-week adventure here through the season of Lent. And we've picked out a theme for us each week. And so Pastor Serena's going to talk to us about that real quick here.
Water everywhere. There's a lot of water themes in our whole trip, but there's a lot of water images in the Bible. So, it seemed early on we were just inundated with water images. So we'll touch a little bit more about that, but then we'll go through systematically like what the stuff that we saw the first few days on our trip, and then over the next few weeks we'll do more and more. So
Yeah.
Anyway, so Pastor Rick is going to do this.
Yeah, so we're going to learn a little Turkish tonight. I think I taught you the first word there, merhaba. Maybe we should have led off with that word, merhaba. So, hello. There you go. So, and then I want to thank you all for bringing the lovely food and stuff you had. So in Turkey, I would say teşekkür. Teşekkür, yeah. Turkey has little marks on some of their letters, like that S there makes an SH sound, and that double U dotted U there is kind of like a ooh. So teşekkür. Teşekkür. Our tour guide said pronounce it like tea sugar. Sugar for your tea. You come pretty close. So yeah. So the next word there, obviously it's good evening right now, but günaydın is good morning. That's pronounced günaydın, which kind of sounds like good night, doesn't it? Yeah,
Sound a little German.
little bit of a Germanic influence there, perhaps. Yeah, and then goodbye or just bye bye is güle güle. Güle güle. So that's what you tell someone when you're going to take your leave and see them later. So yeah, so güle güle is that word. So you're now all.
For later when we're leaving. Goulet, goulet.
That's right. Yeah, we got to remember that for later, right?
Robert
Yeah.
Goulet.
There you go.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll start with an opening prayer. So
Yep.
the Lord be with you.
And
also with you.
Let us pray. Gracious God, we thank you. We thank you for bringing us here tonight to learn a little and laugh a little and discover more about Paul's journey in the ancient world and how that can inform and help our faith. Pray that you guide this time together, that you be with us to encourage us and lead us forward and help us to use it in our everyday lives. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Great. Okay, so I'm going to have you turn to a partner and share. If you don't know your partner's name, introduce yourself. What is your favorite thing about water? So turn to a partner and share. What's your favorite thing about water? And what's your favorite thing about water?
You don't know the camera's on until later, right?
They can hear everything.
I know. The thing is, we're here. Everybody should.
I know.
Makes everything grow. Dirt, yeah. No rain, no flowers. I like how it recycles itself out of water. There's nothing.
Anyone need a little more time to share? Okay. So, is there anybody who doesn't know names? You all know names. Okay. All right. So,
Do you
for
know?
my sake,
I was gonna
I
say.
know most of your names, but not all. Go ahead, say your name, and then what did you share about water? So, and I'll start, and then Pastor Rick will do the end. So we'll go this way. Pastor Serena, my favorite thing about water is I love the ocean. Love the sound of it, love the taste of it, love to swim in it. I just love the ocean, always have. So yeah, so that's what I one of the things I enjoy about water.
Well, I guess, well, thirsty. When you're thirsty, it comes in pretty.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Okay. Yeah. So, Donna.
Okay, I'm Donna, hello. Anyhow.
She needs it for her coffee.
Yes.
No, I gotta say, I was raised on well water, and I love well water. I do not like bottled water. I always have to do some flavoring in it.
You must have had good well water, because yeah,
We
you have
did.
good well water, yeah,
Yeah,
but yeah,
yeah.
a lot of the wells around here are sulfur down in Alden.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
no,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
Very quenching when you have.
Yeah.
Yeah, we grab a hose.
Yeah, yeah. So, what's your group?
I'm Christine, everybody knows me. I like a little stream because it's so soothing and just watching a little.
Sound of, yes, yeah, sound of peaceful stream, yeah.
I am Tracy. Mine is also the ocean. It's just mesmerizing, no matter if it's lots of waves or little ripples. Love it. I like the smell, everything. I don't like swimming that much.
Yeah.
Sure, just watching.
Exactly. You guys.
I'm Dale Kruschke, and I had enough ocean, so I kind of like water
Maybe
because you
better.
can float a boat in it.
And I'm Lois Kruschke, and I like water because I like to do exercising in water.
Oh, nice.
And I like to drink water.
David, during the summer, really cools you down, we put a little lemon in it.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Brian. I remember when I was younger on a hot day going swimming, it was fun and cooling off, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Water.
Like jumping in cool water to
Yeah.
cool off in the hot summer, yeah, yeah.
Bob, and I also enjoy swimming in the water.
Linda, I really go with the ocean. Lapping water is a big thing for me, but drinking it, I'm a real water drinker.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Rhonda, and I love to drink water also, and swim in water and float on the water.
Oh, floating
Love to
is
do
good.
the floating and feeling like, yes, that floaty feeling.
I'm Dawn, and I like it because it's refreshing, and it's nothing like a sunset over the ocean or the shoreline or horizon.
That's right.
I'm Marilyn, and I like being near water, although I'm not very often, but we're also 90% water. So,
I
it's
looked that-
everywhere.
Our bodies are between 73 and 80% water, depending on how much water you're retaining. Yeah.
100%.
Diane, I love to drink water.
Mhm.
As a child, of course, I enjoyed swimming, but
Nice.
And Pastor Rick, of course. I enjoy water to drink. It's my main go-to, not coffee, as you all know.
Weird.
I also like seeing the water, like going through the streams and waterfalls and all that, like up in the Adirondacks, for example, and then the snow, as long as it stays up in the mountains. And I also like how the ocean and going in the ocean makes my family happy too. So
Because if your family's happy, you're happy.
that's right, you got it. Yep.
Exactly.
Okay, hold on one second there. Okay.
So, okay. I didn't press the button, so,
Oh,
anyway,
well.
you did. So our faith focus tonight is water is essential to life, right? But, we need water. We cannot live without water. You can live without food, depending on how much, like I could probably go, it's literally, you can live without food for months.
Yeah.
But without water, I believe it's 48 hours, yeah, so, how did we go ahead? Did
I'm
I
going
do
too
that?
fast for you,
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah.
But, so we need water, but yet an excess of water causes chaos and destruction, like flooding, or drowning, those kinds of, water is essential, but it's dangerous, so it's kind of funny in that aspect.
What are we looking at? Is that a place where they're drying salt or?
Haha, that is one of the places we'll talk about. All the pictures that you'll see in our opening slides are places that you will see
Okay, so
here.
we'll be talking
And
about
this
it.
we will be talking about this. This is called the Travertines.
Yeah.
So, yes.
Yeah, they'll connect to places that we mentioned later on.
Gotcha.
This was my favorite Rick picked the
Yeah.
pictures. These are really
Healing
good.
waters.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so, but the interesting thing too in the Bible is water is used as an example, to help us understand who Jesus was, who God is, and how it applies to our lives, and, living water, all those different examples of water. So, so that's one of the really neat things in scripture, is how water is used, and how life is unsustainable without water. Water was really the thing that, in the ancient world, without water, you wouldn't be able to live there. It was inhabitable. So, just so vital to life. So yeah, so fun fact, 71% of the Earth's surface is water, only 3% is fresh. So, amazing when you think about
We're
that.
sitting right next to it.
And we're
Yeah,
pretty
we're
fortunate to be
sitting
sitting
next
next to a
to
big
Great
chunk of
Lakes,
it,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
If the world ends,
wanna come here?
if the modern world ends, we're in good shape, because we're next to the Great Lakes and the fresh water, but.
Canada still likes
Yeah,
us.
yeah, so, yeah, and this is another picture from, little Turkey, so, yeah.
Yeah, up in the mountains.
Anyway,
so.
okay.
This is not a picture of Turkey. Okay, yeah, go ahead, do that
Okay,
there.
this is you.
Yeah, so this is me. So, stay with me here for one moment. I'm just gonna switch my
Rick's
slides
gonna
here.
show you a map, because he loves maps.
I love maps. Yes. So there we are. Oh, you can't see that. How do I do this? There we go. Now
Oh,
you can
okay.
see it. Okay, there we go.
So anyway, this is Laura, that's me, and that's Jonathan. Those are Google Maps. And we share our locations.
Yeah.
So that's what those icons are.
So anyway, we're all here in Western New York. We know where we are. It's pretty flat right in our area that we live in. There we go. You can see where I'm at here. And then this, you got the southern tier, you got some of the hills here, you got Letchworth Park here. You can kind of see that there. So this is kind of a terrain map showing you some of the topographic features of this area. So let's take a little flight now. We're going to do it much faster than the 11 hours it took us.
Oh, wow, that
Did you
would
watch
have
a
been
movie?
nice.
What'd you guys do on your flight over?
Tried to sleep, watch a lot of movies.
Okay, yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
recommend Turkish Airlines. They're not comfortable. The seats
Gotta get
were
over there
hard.
for
And
hard
I've been on an
seats,
international
yeah.
flight, and that was the hardest seat I've ever.
So here we are. Here's where we are. So the heart is Istanbul. I guess we left our hearts there. I don't know, but
I liked Athens better.
you liked Athens. But yeah. So anyway, so Paul he did 3 journeys from Jerusalem and from Syria to go and evangelize these areas, to connect with the Jewish communities that were living in a lot of the places in this area of Turkey here called Asia Minor. And then he also ventured pretty far over this way to Greece too. And then of course his final journey was to Rome. So his first journey was just kind of down in this area a little bit. Down here you get to Lake Antalya, which we're going to show you in just a moment. But notice how rugged it is and how mountainous it is. That's all mountains right there. So and a lot of the weather you'll be seeing us. Pastor Serena made it sound like we do wardrobe changes every once in a while to show just how hot or cold it is. It wasn't hot at all. But like down towards the Mediterranean coast, it kind of felt like an April or May day. When we're up in the mountains, in some places, it was just kind of like Western New York, but with mountains and snow and all that kind of stuff. So it really depended on how high or low we were that gave us the weather. So, and a lot of the places that Paul visited are up in these areas, in the mountains or along the coast. And the mountains do come pretty close to the coast, as you'll see here too. And then we eventually made our way up here to Istanbul, or Constantinople, or Byzantium, depending on the time. We might play that song for you. We'll see. And then we worked our way over to Greece, like Thessaloniki. You may have heard of Paul's letter to Thessalonians. That place, 2 letters. Yeah, right. First and second. And then we had a bunch of locations as we worked our way down the spine of Greece here, and eventually wound our way up into Athens, and then we flew all the way back. But yeah, so I just wanted to show you that, just to kind of give you a feel for the land, how things kind of look. So let me get back to my slide
Do you have
here.
any idea of how many miles you folks traveled?
Probably over 2,000
I was gonna say.
altogether.
about 2,000
Yeah.
over here and then
Yeah.
Yeah, and when we were there, we were on a bus. So,
Yeah.
so that was, luckily we didn't
Right,
have to drive.
so-
I would not have wanted to drive
Uh-huh.
there. But,
So there's this neat little website that you can take a silhouette of a country and superimpose it over another to kind of get an idea of like how big they are compared to the others. So I took Turkey here in red and Greece in blue and
right
laid
about
it over
Here is where Antalya was, where we started.
where we are.
Down there.
Yeah. So say for example, well, I put Istanbul right over where we are, like up in Buffalo here. You can't see my pointer. There it is. Okay, so right up here in Buffalo, and then Antalya, where we started, is way down here. So notice it's like in like the Washington D.C. area, if you can kind of tell where that is there. And then Athens resides somewhere over in this area, like say Dayton, Ohio. So we were in that kind of a region, like the southern tier, Pennsylvania, get down in the mid-Atlantic, over towards like the Ohio Valley and stuff like that. So it's that kind of a scale of where things are at. It's kind of hard to tell the scale of things when we're in our own country as compared to other parts of the world. So I wanted to give you that just to kind of give you a sense of like the scale and the distance that we made. There's quite a bit of distance between some of these places, but like for example, if I were to do the Israel presentation again, if you'll remember that one from a few years back, everything's so compact over there. You can hit most of the places in Israel within like a 1 hour drive, 2 hour drive at most. So little bit different. So the scale's bit wider in this case. So go.
Yep. All right. Cool. Does not want to go.
So I want to go. Okay.
There we go. All right. So we just pulled out. There's, like I said, there's quite a lot of scripture references to water, living water. But I thought a good focus one would be John 7. Is there anyone willing to read? Thank you, Donna.
On the last day of the festival, the great day, while Jesus was standing near, he cried out, "Let anyone who is thirsty come to me, and let the one who believes in me drink. As the scripture has said, out of the believer's heart shall flow rivers of living water."
So I think that's a great image, thirsty, with Jesus, coming to Jesus and drink, but then the water, also the love of God, the great love of God, like water flows out from us, a very cool one. So, who wants to guess what is up in the picture?
It's an aqueduct of
Yes.
some kind of.
Exactly.
It is an
Yep.
aqueduct, it's a Roman aqueduct, yeah.
Yeah.
One of the places we stopped at, so which, water was just so vital. And so, yeah.
Yeah.
We have a lot to get through. I think
Still no one. All right.
there we go. So day 1 was travel. There really wasn't much, and day 2 was mostly travel too. We landed in, we got into Istanbul a little late, and then we got in later to, we had to take another flight down to Antalya, which is down. Wait.
Where the arrow is.
Oh yeah, right there. I got confused for a minute. So
Yeah.
you talk about this slide. This
Yeah.
slide.
So this is Paul's first journey. You've got Turkey there along the top half of that map, and then over on the center right side of the map is a little area called Syria, and then you've got the island of Cyprus kind of floating out there in the Mediterranean, and then you get down towards Lebanon and Israel, kind of run off the map there a little bit down towards Jerusalem. But anyway, so Paul went to Antalya is what they called it. So they set sail from here. They left through Antalya to head back to Antioch in Syria and connect back with the Jesus believers there, and then from there I believe they went back to Jerusalem to share their story. So water, of course, back then was probably the fastest way to get around.
Fastest way to get around.
Most of the common people back then, you had your own 2 feet. That was how fast you got around, and you saw
if you
how.
had a donkey, you were rich.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
the horses were really reserved for the.
Yeah.
for the-
And you saw how rugged the terrain is, and you'll see that here in a minute. Takes a while to get around on foot. So when Paul did these journeys, there were multiple months, dozens of months, probably a couple of years for some of them. So, so that's kind of where that's at. So,
Yeah, you're
so
gonna
we'll
have
get
to
into
move
it.
it
Yeah.
along.
So it should be working for you. Try it now.
Let me try it.
Yeah, go back.
Oh, there we
There
go.
you go.
Now it
Okay.
works. Okay. All right. So day 2. So there's Rick took this from the airplane, and then here's the actual town of Antalya. We took a little walk around town after we arrived in. Our guide showed us around. So very very beautiful, and it was nice. It was nice there that day. 60s and sunny. So which is always good. And then, of course.
We've heard a couple cat stories.
Yes.
Yeah.
The cats of Turkey.
Yeah.
You wanna talk a
So,
little bit?
so cats are thought of in Turkey as sort of like a national treasure, a national resource, if you will. Not so much as household pets where you keep them in your home and you know you give them like cat towers and treats and catnip and all that kind of stuff. So they're not considered very clean animals in Turkey. So most people don't keep them as household pets like we know of. So they're roaming about the community, much like this picture here, doing whatever it is cats do. But however, it's sort of like it's a communal. They see it as sort of a communal responsibility to take care of the cats that are in their community, because they see some benefits out of the cats. Of course, they take care of vermin and rats and mice and that kind of thing. We didn't really see any of that.
We saw not a single
Not
rat,
too many birds
mouse.
either.
Yeah, the birds were smart,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah,
So we didn't have
yeah,
the-
they're probably staying well
we
away.
didn't have the pigeons
Yeah,
or anything.
so but they believe that the cats they're companions. You know, they can give them like I don't know what, some encouragement perhaps, or brighten their day somehow. So people do sometimes go out and feed the cats. Like there's like a feeding station right there that they'll go and feed the cats. There's some cat condos in the area. I got in trouble for that. So.
It doesn't sound right when you say, yeah, I know, but don't put the words together. It doesn't sound right.
Yeah. So anyway, and then different people do have like a little cove or something like that for them, like out in front of like their business or their home or something like that. So cats are definitely looked at differently there. And of course, being on the street, they do have a program the government does to attempt to control the pet population, like Bob Barker would tell us, right? But it doesn't work all that great. So because cats are everywhere.
They really breed fast.
Yeah.
I mean, just check out 10 Lives Club. I mean,
Yeah.
it's kitten season.
So-
They're like,
Yeah. So
I
you'll
take
see.
it they're not skittish or anything.
depends on the cats.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of them are very friendly. You'll see some pictures of the
Yeah.
friendlier ones.
They know what to listen for if you have food.
Yeah, they know what a plastic bag. Boy, I was like,
Uh-huh.
well, who are you? Me, the one at Ephesus, remember? Almost
Yeah.
ripped the bag out of my hand.
Yep.
And there was no food in it.
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
it's a plastic bag, lady. You got something for me?
Great, exactly. So we'll have some cats sprinkled throughout our presentation here to lift our spirits, I guess.
Yeah. And then this is Hadrian's Gate. So this was after Paul and everyone like that. When the Roman Emperor Hadrian was named one of the historical sites that's still there and still preserved.
Yep.
So and re-preserved. So, but beautiful view of the port here where Paul would have set sail from somewhere around here. Just obviously they didn't have this.
No.
They didn't have that beautiful glass, but it's just really pretty, really scenic. It's a nice sunset. Some people in our group wanted to get down to the, and me too, I wanted to touch the water. We couldn't get to the water. There were these huge rocks and we would have fallen in, and, so we were all like, okay, sorry, we'll get it another day. We
Yeah.
So, because I like to touch the water, but yeah, it was a nice little walk back. Oops. So, and then we walked way back here and then back up through, right back here, right, Rick?
Yeah. There's some really old, rather steep streets and buildings and stuff like that over there that had shops and things like
Shops
that.
along and stuff. And this was New Year's Day.
Mhm.
So there was a lot of families around with kids and stuff that normally were off because it was a holiday.
Yeah.
So, but there is an elevator there that I think a couple people in our group took that needed a little more help with mobility. And then we walked back and then we went up to the top of that, and then so it was still decorated for Christmas because it wasn't Epiphany yet, You guys know that.
Yeah.
Take the tree down till Epiphany. So, yeah. But,
Or
yeah.
January 20th. Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, that was our first, and this is a statue to Ataturk, who was the Turkish country, Türkiye, which is how they prefer it pronounced now. Ataturk was their hero who united the country and brought them into the 21st century. So yeah.
Riding a lion with a cape on? Is
I
that-
know.
Okay,
I know, crazy.
okay.
Hey.
Yep.
I have cataract surgery coming up. I don't see all of it, but that was a lion with a guy with a
Yeah.
cape on.
So then we got a good night's sleep in the Best Western. They had the best breakfast. That was
They did.
our number one breakfast was our first hotel.
Yes.
Yeah,
I
that
agree.
was the best. They had an omelet bar, an omelet
Oh, yeah.
station. So
And
anyway.
that's where we were introduced to the mulberries.
The mulberries, that's where I discovered mulberries, yeah.
Uh-huh.
So, anyway,
So,
Rick, you wanna?
so our next stop the next day, we visited a place named Aspendos. You don't see that on the map because Paul didn't go there. It's not mentioned in the Bible either. However, it's in the neighborhood of other places that are nearby, and we went there specifically to see the theater that's at this site. Most of the ancient Roman/Greek cities have certain features that are pretty standard across the board. A theater is one of them, like an outdoor theater, in the 180-degree round with the stage. So we went here, and that's the theater.
So it's still used, so it's the best preserved theater in antiquity is what our professor called it.
Yeah.
They restored it a bit, and you can see, we'll see pictures of that, but they still have performances here. Yanni, I believe, was there, and I believe Elton John has played there too. So, which is really very cool. So you can see, this is our guide, Shibi, and I don't think I'm in that picture.
Yeah, I don't think you're in that picture either.
No. So, but we could walk, or, you know, that was the other fun thing, is you can walk over all these ancient ruins. There's no rope stopping you, which there should be a few places where you shouldn't be walking because you're gonna fall off. So some of our, and there you go. The friendly neighborhood theater cat. They were doing a production of Cats that day.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. That was my joke. They're doing a production of Cats. So, but yeah, they still use it for performances. But she was explaining to us down in here is where, when they did performances in the ancient world, you said the orchestra was down here, and then.
Are the seats made out of stone?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, there's a better picture.
Yeah, we've got a
here.
better picture.
There's-
That's a good picture, though.
So I don't like heights, but I made myself do some of these things. So you can't tell I'm a little scared there, but I am. I am a little scared. So see here, the marble, like the
Stone,
restoration.
yeah.
This is the old, and this is what they've done to fix them up. So they tried to preserve as much as they could, but you know, as things ruin, they do. So.
But yeah, they're just concrete levels. So you would sit on basically the concrete edge there, and then maybe a little bit of distance between you and the feet of the person that's sitting above you.
Right.
Yeah.
So you can see the John, the guy there, is about 2 inches taller than me. So you can see how, and then if you look back at this, you can see how we were thinking it's about a third the size of the Bison Stadium. About how many seats?
In terms of seating capacity.
Seating capacity. So yeah.
Yeah, no railings, right. Yeah, there's no Americans with Disabilities Act in antiquity world, so.
Sections of marble there, is that like the box seats of today or something?
Well,
Yeah, maybe.
The only box seats are like here. They used to have special seats here, and
There is a raise back to one of the
Back
seats,
up
like
in
way
here,
down, maybe
Yeah.
up there, but I don't think you can see it in this picture, but way down on the bottom in the front there was a little section with like a raised seat back, which is where like the dignitaries and officials would sit.
so yeah, there were special seats. Okay, so then from there, we went to see. Rhonda knows what this is. Aqueduct. Yeah. So was pretty close to.
Yeah.
So they did not have to restore it. It's just been there the whole time since it was built by the Romans, which is pretty interesting.
So the water used to flow through there?
Yes, the water would, and we'll show you a picture and a picture's coming up of what the water actually went through, that the pipes were made of. Very cool. But the water, it's interesting because there was no pump.
Oh, it wasn't open on the top?
No, there were pipes. Yeah, and how they managed it was, there was no pumps, but they would, basically like up and down over hills with,
They'd get a siphoning effect going within
Yeah.
the pipes
yeah,
to
siphoning and
get
gravity.
it over terrain.
And,
Yeah.
it's just amazing the engineering, the stuff they were able to figure out
Yeah.
back then without all the cheats we have with AI, So, yeah. So then, I'm like, what? I don't know why Rick took that picture, but just to show how tall it is. So then, the other cool thing, when we stopped here, there were a couple vendors, but guess what was in season in January? Citrus fruit.
Yeah.
So they had vendors there that were making fresh orange and pomegranate, fresh squeeze right in front of us. If I didn't see him squeeze it, I would not have believed that it didn't have sugar in it. It was so good, so sweet, and I don't drink juice, and I'm glad I did. So, so it was, yeah, very, very cool. But you can see, look how, if you've ever seen the inside of a pomegranate, the ones in the US never look that good. So, yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
So then our
Definitely.
next stop.
So our next stop after that, so Aspendus is very close to the city of Perga, which should be spelled P-E-R-G-A there. So this is in a region called Pamphylia, or a province of Pamphylia, that Paul and Barnabas visited twice. They were there on the way in and on the way out. So, so if you're in our Bible study on Thursday mornings, I think we've actually hit on that now. But anyway, so like I said before, you get your standard amenities in this ancient Roman city too. You got another theater. You have Agora, that's an outdoor marketplace. There's also baths, a gymnasium. There's a necropolis. What's a necropolis again?
Graveyard.
Graveyard, thank you. Yep, graveyard, right? Necro, right? Yeah. There's a memorial fountain, and then so the Greeks were there before the Romans. So the Greeks had their own structures, and then the Romans came along and added to it.
Changed.
So and there's some variations in the construction of those. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can. So this was our first. You can see the snow in the distance where we were. It was actually pretty warm. You'll see me in short sleeves. This was the warmest day we had.
Yep.
Warmest and sunniest day we had. So yeah.
Yes.
Did all of those columns support a roof?
They did. Yeah.
Yeah, you'll see. This is just a first.
Yeah, they supported, like, I don't know if you can see it towards the right. There's like a cross beam there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll see more. So. Most of the sites that we were at that were abandoned cities, they've reconstructed some of it, so you can see what some of it looked like based on what they could find.
Yeah. It was solid construction, however, does not stand up well to earthquakes. So.
There were some really bad earthquakes in between like 200 and 500
Yeah.
years. Yeah, there was a bunch of really bad ones.
Yeah.
So this is something they reconstructed an area, but we'll get more. You can see more of the columns over there.
Yeah,
So
that was
lots
one of the
of
gates. That's
this
another
is stuff
gate.
they were
Yeah.
work in progress, continuing to restore and to show to visitors. And then so this is the beginning of the bathhouse. Romans were really into bathing, which is good. They were really into hygiene. That's why water was so essential for them. But most of the middle and upper class would bathe every day in the bathhouses. They would come in, they would start with steam, then they would go in and soak in it, and then they would go in the frigidarium where they would cool off. But the whole process of bathing was very important. And the poor would save up and try to go when they could. But culturally, it was very important. It was a meeting place too. They would have discussions and connections and make plans.
Gossip.
And so underneath is where this is the steam room area. You said they
Yeah,
would
so
heat
so
up-
how they worked this was they had water down there, but in order to heat the water up, they would take these terracotta or brick discs and put them into an oven, take the warm bricks, set them down in the water underneath, and that would create the steam that would then come up into the room above. So
Very
that's how they would do that.
labor-intensive.
Yeah, slaves did that work.
Slaves, yeah. I mean, the slaves really ran so much
Yeah.
in the ancient world cities.
Yeah, and they relied on slaves for a lot of the construction of this too.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, and then this is one of the roads. There was you could see the ancient road led into Perga and out. So this is one direction, and that's the other direction.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in the columns, so they can see this is stuff that existed, and then stuff they'd found in excavations, archaeological excavations.
Right.
So this Rick post the picture on. It's forbidden and dangerous to get in the canal. This was the canal where the water came into to support the city, and not for drinking. So
At least not today.
there were no warning signs anywhere in Turkey except for this one, really. I mean, there was no like, don't climb on here. Oh no, go ahead. Don't hide didn't hear. Oh, wow, okay. Yeah, don't go in the tunnel. No, go in the tunnel. Are you sure? Yeah, so it's funny. It's clearly people must have gotten very sick from it for them to put the sign up.
Yeah.
They could
Yeah.
have, who knows? Who knows, but it's kind of funny.
Yep.
So, yeah, so this whole area here, and then we're gonna show you a picture from up behind here.
That'll be the next picture.
That's the next picture. That's from the top, so we climbed up there and you can see down, so you can see all the back. Remember the scaffolding in the last picture, we walked all the way.
So those columns held up a roof, you said?
Yeah, so they held up cross beams and a roof. The roof, some of the beams were made out of wood. The roof may have been like we're not entirely sure what exactly it was, but yeah, it could have been just like
It was pretty sure that,
Yeah.
I think she said this was the
timbers and
marketplace area.
thatching.
This
Yeah,
is the road that went north and south to the other towns,
Yeah.
and the gateways and stuff, but this was like the marketplace and agora.
yeah, the agora. Yeah.
Yeah, so,
Mhm.
yeah, so that was really nice to be able to show you that picture.
Yeah.
So, and then the proof that we made it.
Yeah. See, it's a nice warm day.
Made it up there. Nice warm day. I'm in short sleeves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's our whole group.
Yeah. Which is taken in the stadium.
That's the stadium.
If you've
Not
ever
the
heard
Bill
of the
Stadium.
yeah, not what we call it, Highmark Stadium now, of
Highmark
course, yeah.
Stadium.
But
People was in the group?
42-ish, yeah, something like that, yeah, if you count everyone.
Yep.
So the neat thing about this stadium is that, if you've heard of the measurement of a stadia is the length of a stadium. And so it's a certain number of meters that they set in order to have that proper distance to do competitions. Whether it's, I don't know, think of like track and field kind of stuff, maybe not so much chariot races here, it's a little smaller than you need to for that. But wrestling was a big thing back then. Not WWE like you see on TV. Think more wearing nothing but oil.
But oil, olive
Yeah.
oil.
Olive oil, yeah.
Olives are everywhere, and they were
Mhm.
so like olive oil was used for everything,
Yeah.
from eating to
Yeah. Yeah.
lathering yourself up for a wrestling match.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
you're a man.
It was a different time, and
Women
we've
were not
got
allowed to
pictures of
watch.
that. We'll have pictures of that in the after hours
Unfair,
presentation.
right? Unfair.
Yeah.
Unfair. So then, yeah.
Okay.
So that was the end of that day. It was a long day.
Yeah, a long day.
But a
Yeah,
good
they were all long days.
Yes.
So yeah, and then we got to the next day. So we broke away from the coast and started to get up into the higher elevations a bit, and we came across a city named Colossae, which is that there's a letter to Colossians in the New Testament, which was not written by Paul. Fun fact. So.
In the New Testament, most of the letters are attributed to Paul, the apostle. There's a couple of them that they believe were not written by him because of the language, the way and stuff that he speaks about weren't things that he spoke about normally. So they call them the disputed epistles. But it wasn't to deceive. In the ancient world, they would write letters to kind of what's the word I used this morning? In honor of. To
Yeah.
honor the people.
Mhm.
It wasn't to deceive, it was to, to give authority. It was often suited.
Pseudepigraphy is the word.
That's it, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's taking someone's name and adding it to what you wrote to kind of give it more of a authority, more weight to it.
But also to honor them as
To
well.
honor them, yeah.
Yeah, it was a very common practice in the ancient world. Not today. Today we'd be like, oh my gosh, you stole that person's name. That's copyright infringement.
Yeah, it'd
Not-
be like
not
copyright
ancient
infringement or plagiarism or something like that today. Yeah.
No, it would have been, it was a very common practice. So
Yeah.
they are pretty sure that Paul's letter to the Colossians wasn't written by
Like
Paul.
a ghostwriter.
Ghost kind
Yeah.
of ghostwriter. Yeah, that'd be a better
Sort
way
of,
to
yeah. And there's, if you want to really get into the weeds of it, there's clues within the writing that you can kind of figure it out. But that's beyond what we want to do tonight.
Right.
So anyway, Colossae is a tell. How can you tell? So think of a layer cake, if you will, with the multiple layers of cake. But replace the cake with different city. So the original city would come along, and then an invading force or time would just wipe that out. And then someone else comes and was like, oh, this is a great place to put a city. Let's put it on top of it. And then that process would keep on repeating itself like a layer cake. So that's what a tell is. A tell is sort of like the buried remains of that, and there's ways that you can tell that it's a tell.
Great.
Which we'll tell you about in just a minute. Yeah, we had a lot of fun with this. Yeah. So Paul never went there. There was the letter to Colossians, but Paul passed nearby here. So and because it was unexcavated, there's not a lot to see there, and so you came up with a
I
wonderful
called it
quote.
a colossal waste of time. Because it was a good stop to see, but we spent over an hour that could have been spent doing something better that's coming next. So
Right.
that was my biggest.
There's the best feature of the city.
There's the best feature, the sign, so you know you're at Colossae. So it's the bottom.
Travels, was it a tell already, or was it a city at the time?
It had been a city when, in Paul's day, it would have been a
It was a
city, an
city.
active city
Yeah.
where people lived.
Okay.
It was abandoned, probably due to earthquakes, that's why a lot of the ancient cities got abandoned. It just got too hard to rebuild, and the Roman Empire had pretty much collapsed, and didn't have the money to rebuild a lot of these cities, so people would abandon them.
They probably canceled the insurance.
That's probably it. Yeah.
Exactly, so this is the
Think
top
about
of the towel, and then we'll see some of the pictures, we're heading in that direction.
Yeah. So she's on the top of the layer cake, I guess you could
Top
say.
of the layer cake. Yeah, you need a bride and a groom on the top of the layer cake, right?
I should have been in the picture with you.
I know, you should have been in the picture with
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
So, but there's our bus is down here, so there was a path we walked up, and then you can, so it's, now how do they know that it's Colossae? I believe they've always known, they just never got around to excavating it.
Yeah.
From what our guide and our professor said, they're due to begin excavations on this tell probably in the next decade. Why haven't they excavated it yet? The group this morning asked that. Well, there's numerous reasons, but one of the reasons is they do want to save some of these sites for future generations. How unfair is it for us to do them all, and when, these sites are thousands and thousands of years old.
So what's the hurry?
Yeah.
Right.
It's not going
They're not
anywhere.
going anywhere,
No.
especially these, because they're level.
So they had to carry in all that dirt to cover it.
No, it basically history has done that.
Oh.
Yeah, just, so kind of imagine, it's hard for us to imagine because things in the United States are so young, except for some of the native places in like Arizona, some of the cliffs dwelling that's,
Yeah.
but those are some of the oldest things we have in the US.
If you've ever let like your garden go, or like a patio walkway or something like that, eventually over the years it kind of starts to get covered over by grass and stuff like that, and mudslides, right?
What's the city, is it Atlanta? Underground, is it Atlanta that has the
Yeah.
underground city?
Underground Atlanta, yeah.
Yeah.
Atlanta Underground.
Yeah, the Atlanta
Yeah.
Underground is the older version of Atlanta and then they but it built on top of it, so that's kind of similar. But just, imagine, say you have your house, you level your house but you leave the debris there and build on top of it.
Oh.
That's what,
Yeah.
So, centuries and centuries of that.
Mhm.
Like a landfills.
Yeah. Yeah, kind of. So you can see you can see some of the ancient rocks.
Yeah. You can kind of tell. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of tell is a tell. Do we have a tell? And then this is the side, so you can see some of the other ancient ruins that were outside of, like the top of the tell was the main part of the city. This was kind of like the outside of the city. They're not exactly sure what, because they haven't done the excavating yet. They have some really cool technology though now. They can look. Yeah. So that's one of the things. That's probably what'll happen.
Like a
first
ground
is
penetrating radar. They got,
radar and things. They can see what's there.
Like a sonogram from the earth.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
they can see
that's a
some
good way to put
more-
it.
Some more stuff there, but we spent an hour there. That should have been 10 minutes.
You really wanted to spend that hour here,
Here
though.
is where we should have spent the extra hour that we wasted there.
Yeah. So this is Hierapolis, and then Pamukkale was a geologic feature next door to it. So you'll see this mentioned in Colossians, which just came from Colossae. So this is not that far away from there. So this is a significant site of early Christianity. Paul did some ministry here and connected with some people here. The Apostle Philip is believed to have been martyred here in Hierapolis. So there's a church that we put on top of the place. So that's mentioned in Acts. And then Pamukkale, right next door, is a site of some thermal pools, and they're also scattered throughout the area that were used to for healing and treating various ailments and things like that. So
And they-
there's a lot of those in this area. It's kind of like Yellowstone Park.
I was gonna say,
Um,
isn't that one, yeah, it's
yeah,
like volcanic there.
Yeah, but much
It's
larger.
an UNESCO
So
World Heritage Site, Pamukkale, with the, and while we were there, that's where a lot of Asian tourists, there was a lot of Asian tourists in Turkey, and a lot of them, there was a huge bunch of them there. So,
Yeah.
not doing what we did,
Yeah.
but yeah.
So,
just
and of
doing
course, the
Pamukkale.
requisite theater is there. Temple of Apollo, and then what's called the Plutonian, which is the gateway to the underworld.
Pluto, god of the
Ooh.
underworld.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
So, yeah.
I'll show you that.
It's the cemetery. Yeah.
A large part of the area too is a seminary. Oh boy, cemetery for gladiators. They needed a place to put them, and so gladiators had a place of great honor. So they have different tombs and mausoleums and things like that. Yeah. So we'll show you those. Pamukkale is short for Cotton Castle, which we'll get to. The color
So when you see the pictures, yeah.
that is. And then there's travertine. It's a stone that exists in this region. It's a type of limestone that when it interacts with the hot springs, the
hot springs
yeah.
forms it when it
Yeah.
dry. Yeah,
Mhm.
it basically turns it into limestone, and it's been happening.
Yeah,
for thousands of
calcifies
years.
it,
So they do
so.
harvest limestone in that region, and other areas there where there used to be the hot spring now that's currently being formed. And you'll see that in our pictures. But
Yeah.
we started at the cemetery and worked our way to the cool pipe place. Well, the coolest place in my opinion. So here, yeah, we started right down here, right, Rick?
Yes.
Cemetery.
Mhm.
Cemetery is outside of the town, and then this is just a picture of what it looked like, Hierapolis as this city. So, and then the travertines are out here. But yeah, you'll see as we go in. So these are ruins. The graves were robbed, for lack of, over the centuries, obviously. So some of it was put kind of back together, but a lot of it's just kind of left in ruins. So, but yeah. So this, Rick has a close-up in the next picture of this, which symbolizes the gladiators, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. There's a vase there, a trident, probably the weapon that he
Something they
used,
in battle.
and then a shield there on the right. Yeah.
The shield, and then
Yeah.
the
So
picture.
put those symbols together, it signified who that was. We don't know.
We don't know,
But
but-
they certainly did.
Were some of these in the areas that were pillaged, well, during the first Gulf War?
Oh, they were pillaged before that.
No, but I mean, it was in the news about all of the antiquities that were being destroyed by the,
Oh, that was down in like Iraq in that area. Yeah,
that was the
yeah. This is far. This is far away from there.
There was
Yeah.
these, trying to think, the Kurds along the Turkish border area.
Oh, the Turkish border with Syria. Yeah. So Turkey is a fairly long country. We were at least a few hundred miles from there.
Okay.
Yeah.
They didn't get to this
Yeah.
part.
We were in the western third of the country.
Okay.
So.
But yeah. So, no, and a lot of, when we get to more of the excavated sites, a lot of the most valuable things were then excavated in Turkey by German, English, and Americans and taken to their countries. The United States has since returned everything to Turkey. Germany and the UK have not. I think they will eventually. Turkey is very particular about they wouldn't even let us leave. Like, our guide warned us, don't even try to take a stone from a historical site. So they're very, very tough about that. But
We
you-
would still be residents of Turkey right
Yeah.
now. So,
Yeah, I don't know, they'd be able to exchange prisoners for us, and they'd be like, you knew the rules, yeah, suck it
Yeah.
up. Yeah, so, but yeah, you can see how, just that, and the pathway walking
Mhm.
up, it was really cool.
But it just carried on
And then
forever.
we're getting
so.
into Hierapolis,
Yeah.
outside of the city, the gate.
That was a
going in.
church of some sort there? Was that what that was? I'm trying to remember.
Yes, that did become a Christian church, that was
Yeah.
then, that eventually leveled, I'm not sure if it was leveled.
Earthquake.
but It was an earthquake, okay.
Yeah, you can kind of see the separation of some of those stones there.
Yeah, they put some of it back together.
Mhm.
So, and then this is the agora, the opening, towards that, and the gate going into the ancient Hierapolis. So you can see here too, right here, so they didn't, this was like it, as they found it, this is a rut from the wheels on on the carts and the chariots and things that
Yeah.
ran down the street.
It was a well-worn
It was
road.
well,
Yeah.
we
So,
walked on a lot
yeah.
of those.
So if you think of like a mall today,
Right.
where you've got the open concourse and the stores along the way, same idea. So, yeah. In fact, this is what
Just be
inspired our
bustling with
malls,
people,
yes.
there'd be people all out.
Oh, yeah.
just
Mhm.
wow.
There you
Yep,
go.
yep, yeah, and you can find pretty much anything that you wanted to find,
Yes,
yep.
it's for sale.
So,
So then, yeah, we got through that, and then there's more to the Hierapolis, that Rick will show pictures of, but then we came to the travertines. So doesn't it look like a glacier? It's not, it's stone, all stone and water on it. So you can see the water seeping here. And this is the only place they had, you cannot go past a certain point sign, it's the only place, cause they're preserving the
yeah,
travertines.
that cliff out there is probably a couple 100 feet high, at least.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they're trying, but it's really,
They have like wardens or like people that work for like a park or?
yeah, they had
There was
lot
a
of
few.
security.
Yeah,
You could tell the security, cause they wore uniforms in Turkey, so you always knew who worked there.
Yeah.
When we got to Greece, this lady's following us around, and I'm like, why is this lady following our tour guide? She worked there, she had a uniform on, so I thought she was just being nosy.
yeah, uh-huh,
Free tour. I'm
Free
going
tour,
for free.
right?
yeah.
Or she's trying to
Yeah.
make sure she wasn't saying anything wrong, who knows?
Yeah, Turkey was
So,
very
yeah.
good about signifying their police force, for
So
sure.
this is the area you're allowed to actually go and walk in the travertines. You can walk all the way down there. Most of our group didn't because we didn't have enough time. So, cause we wasted time.
If only you had another hour.
Yeah, so then, but yeah, I had to get in. of
Yeah,
course.
good girl, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Now,
So-
was it
so
warm?
the-
It was warm, not hot,
Yeah.
but warm. So,
That pond in the background there is probably a couple 100 feet below the level that she was at there. She's pretty
yeah,
much,
see,
you're at the top of the cliff
I'm
right
at the
there.
top.
Yeah.
I'm in that, but yeah, just the angle of it, it doesn't look as high as it actually
The
was.
water more buoyant, isn't it?
Did you find that?
Not so much, cause it wasn't salty. When it's really salty, it's buoyant. I was in the Dead Sea, I swam in that when I went to Israel, and that was really, yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
you know, normally in the water, I'm up to here, and I was like, here, yeah.
You almost walked on water.
Yeah, almost.
Almost,
I
yeah.
could sit on water, it's almost, yeah, almost like you're sitting. So yeah, that was my favorite. So then Rick, and I saw this site too. Rick went up, and we'll show you some.
Yeah, so this is the Plutonian. This is the statue of Apollo there up on top.
Pluto.
Pluto, sorry.
Pluto and
That's
his
Pluto.
three-headed dog Severus.
Mhm.
Yeah, so those
Yeah,
are, those
so-
were statues that were removed, and now we're in a museum
Yeah,
in Turkey.
yeah.
But-
But down in that pit there, that's the Plutonian. That's your gateway to the underworld. So it's kind of full of water today, but there's carbon dioxide that seeps up through there. And down into that enclosure down there, and so that there's enough carbon dioxide down there that if you hang out long enough, you're going to get knocked out, possibly asphyxiated. So they knew this back then, and kind of played it up a bit. So to kind of prove that the priest there or whoever was in power had these like special abilities to come back from the dead, you know. So they would put a animal like a cow in there or something like that. And demonstrate that, ooh, the cow died, what happens? This is not good.
But I survived.
Yeah, but I survived because he held his breath and came back. I was like, hey, look at me, I'm not dead. And everybody's like, ooh, whoa, you've got some special abilities there. So,
What message did you bring us from
Yeah.
the world?
right,
You
right.
survived.
So, yeah, then he would like make prophecies and things like that. So,
Yeah, so that was
Yeah.
a temple of worship.
yeah. So,
And then
and
this
then
is-
further up the hill, there's a giant hillside behind the
Plutonium.
travertine.
Oh, the travertines, yeah.
So this is and even up beyond the plutonium. This is a church that was erected on the site where they believe that the apostle Philip was martyred. Yeah, they think it may have been right there. Yeah, yeah. So
Well,
there
you
was
know,
steps leading up
A lot of times
to
with
it.
sites like that, I mean, he might have been martyred in Hierapolis, but where actually was he martyred? They
Yeah.
were just like, this is,
Mhm.
choose this site to honor him.
Yeah.
Kind of like that, and that's.
Yeah, so they built a church up on this site. Not much of it is left, but you could kind of tell like the lay of how a typical church is structured. You've got your altar area, the area where the congregation would be seated, and your nave and a narthex and all that kind of stuff. So there's some telltale signs that you can easily tell that it's a church. So including some Christian markings
Like that.
like that. Yeah. So
And then that's the group that climbed up.
that's the
I am
group that
not in
climbed
that
up.
picture.
You were having too much fun.
I was like, I'm staying down with the hot springs.
Yeah, you had too much fun with the
I got a
water.
lot of nice
so.
pictures around the hot springs.
Mhm.
That,
Yeah.
We didn't need to include because my pictures are bad. The hot springs.
Yeah, so that's a view from the martyr site back down towards the
Those are
travertines.
mountains, not
And then,
clouds right here.
those are
Yeah,
mountains off in the
yeah,
distance. So
they look like clouds until you look closer.
yeah. It would look better if the air quality was better.
And then there's the travertines down there. So yeah,
Yeah.
very cool. And another theater.
And-
You're
and
gonna
your
see a lot
theater,
of
yeah.
theaters in the next few weeks. Just to
Absolutely.
warn you. So.
Yeah, and then we went to the hotel for the night.
Okay, so then this is where I really needed an extra hour. That was the hotel indoor pool, but then they had a hot spring thermal pool, an outdoor pool. 105 degrees, water being piped right in from this sun. So this is it outside. And the water doesn't look beautiful because it's sulfurish, you know, and it's got all these natural elements in it that are good for your health. And I enjoyed my nice float in there. So I don't know, you haven't used the buffet from this place in your sermon, but I did.
No, I did not.
We've used different stories in our sermon, so
Yeah.
so the buffet there that night was the most abundant buffet we'd seen in the entire trip. Did we enjoy it? No, because there were too many choices.
Yeah.
And I use that in a sermon about how some abundance can sometimes take the joy right out of your life. I mean, we should have enjoyed that dinner, but we didn't enjoy it at all. It was overwhelming, too much.
Yeah.
So yeah, but this was not overwhelming. This was fabulous.
Yes.
And I forgot to tell the morning group, I had a Turkish bath at this hotel as
Oh,
well.
right,
A
yeah.
special-
Mhm.
A special deal, so I've experienced a Turkish bath, which was interesting, and you would not have enjoyed it at all, but I
No,
enjoyed it.
that's why I didn't do it.
So, yeah. And then day 5, Laodicea.
Yeah, day 5, evening came and morning came, and then we went to Laodicea. So Laodicea, not too far from Hierapolis, where we were the day before, as you can tell by the map. So this is one of the churches of Revelation. There were 7 churches that John of Patmos, the author of Revelation, wrote to in the beginning of the book of Revelation, either commending or condemning the church because of how he felt they related to God and how they were, being faithful and all that kind of stuff. So Laodicea, it's also mentioned in Colossians a little bit, but in Revelation I included this because he has some very pointed words for Laodicea. I know your works. You are neither cold nor hot. You're really wishy-washy. I wish that you were either cold or hot. So because you are lukewarm, neither cold nor hot, I am about to spit you out of my mouth.
It seems very nasty.
Glowing words,
But
right?
it's kind of like, pick a side,
Yeah.
But so the funny thing too is Hierapolis was known for the hot springs, and I believe further south was known for wonderful cold springs, and Laodicea's water was not good. It was lukewarm. It was just not one of those historical things. It wasn't great water. So, yeah.
Yeah, but all the churches that are mentioned in Revelation are along that dotted path that you see there on that map. They're all actual places
7 churches.
that they wrote to. So, and of course, there's the required stadium and gymnasium and theaters that are there. We'll also show you Roman cities were actually pretty good known for their plumbing. They had to get that water to where they needed it somehow, and so we'll show you some examples of that. Most of this is excavated, but when they found the place, when they discovered it, it was buried up to 21 feet deep underground. And so think of your typical 2-story house, which is maybe about 21 feet, and that's about how far underground that was. So, and so,
And of
yeah.
course,
There's your cat, yep.
The cat. It was a little drizzly this day.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, you can see,
Yeah.
see the, where we walked along, one of the walkways there.
Mhm.
That did have a complete roof on it at one point, but you can
Yeah.
only see the columns are erected.
Yeah. This site was much more expansive in
Much
terms
more
of land
expansive
area. Yeah.
area that we walked through.
Mhm.
So here
There's your
is-
plumbing.
So these are the pipes that would run in those aqueducts. Yeah, I was like, whoa, I didn't know, yeah. So they actually made these, and that's how the water would go through the aqueducts, and it would be open when it would get to.
Yep.
But those were the.
And you can see in the top stone there that the circular cutouts
Circular cutouts.
up there.
for the-
Yeah. So,
Yeah, I was like, wow, I didn't know they had that back
yeah.
then.
Those are terracotta pipes. They're like about 2-foot sections that they would just keep adding together.
A lot of work.
Clay?
Clay, yeah, terracotta. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like flower.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
So, and then, this is the church that was
Mhm.
there at Laodicea.
Yes.
We got some more pictures of that. So, the ichthus that they found there. And then this is the baptistry. So within the center, and then,
Mhm.
the church was from about the 4th century.
Yeah,
5th
third, 4th century, yeah.
Yeah, so, and then I love mosaics, so this is
Yeah.
the first nice mosaic we saw in the church. We saw some really nice ones too, but pretty preserved. And then you can see the Christian symbols here on the side that they've put back together. You can also see the glass areas. They would put that above things they didn't want us to step on if they had the money to do that. So there's a lot of places, when we get to Ephesus especially, where we're walking on these glass things,
Yeah.
so we can look below and see what's there. So we walked around and could get closer to that. And then I'm pointing at that, the cross symbol that they found.
So that was the bishop's house,
This
right?
was actually the bishop's house, they said, from the 4th, 5th century
Yep.
that we were in. So, and then there's Rick trying to help.
Help build
I
that.
tried. I can't say I was very successful. That thing didn't move.
We tried to
let's just
tell him to
that,
roll
yeah.
with it, but you know.
The
it
guy back
didn't
there
work.
was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then just perspective, so you know how tall I am, you can see how tall, and, next week or the week after, you'll see bigger, bigger columns than even these. So, and then the crane, you can see, because it's still under construction, they're still finding things there.
Yeah, there's
And
the
then,
crane.
of course, another stadium. So, they loved their stadiums, well, they didn't have TV. Stadium was it, you know?
Yeah.
So then, this
So-
is a,
That's a wall there. You see the fabric that's on the
Fresco.
left side of it there. There's fresco paintings on that. Not a lot of paintings on the building survived. These did. So they love. This is how they decorated by doing these fresco paintings, and we'll see more of this in Ephesus. What we'll get to next week. But
yeah, I mean, this was all, like,
yeah.
this is what they put to, so they could show you parts of it. I mean, they didn't reconstruct, they
So
just.
the tent is to protect it from
Yeah.
the sun and the weather?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, to preserve it, so. And then our favorite.
Any guess what this is?
Potties.
Yep. So the train.
The Romans are really big into hygiene, as
I
a sense
watched
they.
Channel 17.
Very
I'm
good.
sorry.
Yeah,
I watched all
yeah.
Rick Steves.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, the latrines were big, they were public, and you went in.
It was a
with
communal
separate-
experience.
It was a communal experience, so, yeah, and there would be slaves attending to them, as well, and, there was no toilet paper, there was a sponge on a stick, a corporate sponge on a stick, meaning other people used to chew, which is pretty disgusting
They
to
ate so good, they
us.
didn't need to wipe, they had,
Not-
just
not
like
that-
dogs and
yeah,
cats,
yeah,
they ate
yeah.
so good that their diet.
The ancient world bidet, so.
Yeah. But the engineering it took to make this, so they had to get the water there through the aqueducts or some sort of source that's local to the place. They had the plumbing that went through the place. There was open running water underneath each of these latrines, the benches that ran along the side of the wall, so that would evacuate whatever was there. And then there was also a sewer system that existed underneath the streets too. So it was very, I mean, the engineering is really quite remarkable.
It's pretty amazing.
That going into it all.
And then, yeah, and then here's a servant giving him, no, it's not cleaning him. That's one of the emperors of the statues.
Yeah.
The timing of the pictures was just, earlier I was like, there's a servant helping him clean up after he's in the latrine. No,
Yeah.
no, he's just showing deference. He's showing deference.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the statue's a reconstruction. This is a euphonium, which is a fountain, so at the
Yep.
one end, so, which is really cool. So then we went to Aphrodisia, so, and this is our last day, right? Yeah, this is 18th.
I believe so.
okay.
There may be one more after this,
Might be
but
one
we're
more
getting
after
close.
Aphrodisias, yeah, so, the interesting thing about Aphrodisias is that they didn't even know that this city existed. It was found, by accident, on accident, however you say that. It was forgotten and rediscovered in the 1970s. Yes, and I'll show you a picture of how it was discovered, because I forgot, we didn't add it, we showed it later. I'll show you how it was discovered, and the reason. So, and then it has the best preserved hippodrome, which is where they would have the horse races and, all those things. There's a really neat wall of faces we'll show you, very unique, and then some other little features.
Yep.
So dedicate, and Rick threw this in, you can tell.
I threw that in too. This is one of our rest stops along the way. I was just curious, how much is gas in Turkey? So you've got there your
Turkish lira. That's
Turkish
the
lira.
prices.
That's the prices. So like about 37 lira equals $1. And then you also have to convert between metric and English, of course, too. So what are the different products? So they've got regular, they've got diesel. They've also got cars that run on natural gas over there too. So you could also get that here.
So that was the price per liter?
So it would be price per liter, yeah. So it's 45, roughly 25 to 45 lira per
Should we have him guess how much it is a gallon?
per
You did
liter.
the-
Lira,
you did the-
liter, yeah.
You did the conversion. You wanna
So
guess
so when you do the conversions from lira to dollars and from metric to English, so you want to guess how much gas was?
how much per gallon?
You're close. 476.
476.
Yeah. So yeah, that's after you do the math. So
Yeah.
so probably not as bad as you thought, but however, how much are we paying here versus how much are they paying there? So yeah. So I was just curious. So
So here's how this city was discovered. Look at this house. Look at the bottom and the foundation of the house. They used ancient ruins in construction of their houses in this little village. And I guess they were talking to an archaeologist, one of the residents there, and they were talking and said, he goes, oh, we have these in my neighborhood. What do you mean you have these in your neighborhood?
yeah, they're just out there in the field.
These.
Yeah.
This is somebody's house. That they don't like the
They
50s.
used what was around them.
Right. They
Yeah,
were
yeah,
just
exactly.
They were repurposing. It makes perfect sense.
I mean, they used the stone,
And they used,
obviously.
yeah, and they used some of the stones around there, so they repurposed some of the ancient columns into it, and that's how Aphrodisias was discovered in the 1970s by this.
Because look at the mixture of the stone on the wall that they
Exactly.
built. Yeah, oh my gosh.
Exactly.
all
Oh,
the
yeah.
eras.
Yeah,
Uh-huh,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And some of that was probably used in the construction of some of the smaller buildings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then there's.
Not this one, but
Not this one, but yeah, this one is the ancient temple to Aphrodite.
Yeah.
So, pretty big. This is the
That was
hippodrome,
flattened at the time and they reconstructed it?
yeah.
All laying down all over, yeah.
laying down, and then they put back together.
Yeah.
A lot of it, they were able to find a lot of it, it looks like. So
Yeah.
that was pretty good. So, this is the hippodrome.
Yeah, they hadn't done much with this yet,
Yeah,
except
they
excavate
haven't
it.
done much,
but,
but you
yeah.
can walk down in it, but you can say, horse races and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and you could climb wherever you wanted on here, you shouldn't, but you could.
Well, you might not get back down.
And they're like up there and then they got stuck, cause they couldn't go anywhere else, so come back down. Yeah,
Yeah.
so, and then you can see some of the areas they're still excavating, cause this was from the 1970s. When they started that, reconstructing some of the older. This is not as heavily visited a site as as Ephesus will show you, I think next week
Yeah.
next week. Ephesus is the biggest visited historical site in Turkey, and you'll see why. And it's easy to get to. So there's Christian symbol. So there was some Christian community there, they just don't know.
Yeah,
Well,
as
I
far,
mean, one closer too, there was another cross, they were closer.
Yeah, the other cross there.
Two of them.
oh yeah, the one on the side too,
Yeah, the
yes.
one on the side
Mhm.
there.
Right,
Mhm.
yeah.
So, and then this was not a theater.
This is an Odeon,
Yeah, so,
So-
where the church,
the council chambers.
council chambers, kind of like where the town council meet,
Yeah, yeah.
conduct business.
Yeah, if you've ever been to like Buffalo City Hall or seen it on TV and how they kind of have the seats in the round and the council's down on the bottom, yeah, it's kind of, yeah, it's based on this model, so, yeah.
But open air.
Open it, may have been closed back then.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know if the council
Yeah,
chambers were
we're not
closed.
sure,
No idea, but there's most of our group,
so,
so.
yeah.
So, and this is another Roman bathhouse, and how you know it's a bathhouse is the way, the open underneath.
Have the holes for the wooden beams that you didn't know.
Yeah, yeah.
This is the agora, which is the open, did I mention what, agoraphobia, which is the fear of going outside, leaving your house, comes from the word agora. So, which is an open space.
You're afraid of going to the mall,
Yeah.
literally,
You
I
are,
guess.
no.
Yeah.
That's a dangerous place.
Yeah.
Too much to buy.
Yeah.
So, and then, one of the emperors, and I meant to look up who this was.
Yeah, I forget who it was either.
One of the emperors, to kind of combat inflation and price gouging, decided that they needed to have a set price list for everything in the Roman Empire. Like how much it would cost for this. So that's, that was one of the cool things they found. They found this entire list. That's in the stones here, and this translated to all the different things, like the price of how much a jug of olive oil, to how much a day servant should be paid. All those things were price set. by one of
Every
them.
imaginable product at the time. So
Yeah.
there were dozens of these tablets, I guess you
Yes.
could say, that were mounted there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's one of the unique things they found here in
Yeah.
Aphrodisias.
It's the earliest example of Microsoft Excel.
Yeah, there you go. And there's the real theater. And there's our friend Liz, who we used to, like, where's Waldo? Where's
Yeah,
Liz?
yeah.
That was our joke the entire trip. She was always climbing things and,
Yeah.
yeah.
Not me.
So, and then, so here's the other unique feature in Aphrodisias is the wall of faces. They're all different. They're all unique.
Wow.
And they don't know why this wall of faces exists. It's not, there's no historical evidence of why it was created. The best case theory is that these people died, and for some reason their faces were carved and put in this wall. Was it a fundraiser? Was it a memorial walkway, like the ancient version of something like that? They don't know.
Yeah.
Somebody doodling?
Well,
It's a
doodling.
It's a sculpture's
Right,
doodling.
sculpture's doodling.
To practice.
Maybe,
I need
maybe.
to practice here. Maybe, who knows, maybe they did have a sculpture in training there that this was how they were learning to do that,
I
yeah.
mean, sculptures were a very significant part of society
Yeah.
back then, so, yeah.
Very, very important.
Case in point,
Yeah.
that's picture.
They don't have the same number.
So if anyone's watched Game of Thrones, this might seem similar to like the Temple of the Many-Faced God, which was just kind of one of those weird things that we thought, so anyway, but yeah. And then this is the library that they uncovered with some really cool, you can see some of the statues that actually
More
survived.
sculptures, yeah.
Surprisingly, a lot more intact than you would expect,
Yep.
so, and reconstructed. So,
Last
yeah.
one.
And then there's the friendliest cat,
Yep.
Rick's buddy.
Yeah. I had a lot of buddies
You
on the
had a
trip.
lot of buddies.
I did.
You sure did.
Yeah.
So-
And I get their picture.
And then this is where we spent the night. Kudos, you can actually see the name of the town in kind of like the Hollywood sign, except it's
Yeah.
right there.
Kushadasi.
Kushadasi,
Yep.
so, which is really
It's
cool.
a cruise port destination.
Yeah.
So if you ever to take a cruise over there, you might wind up there.
On the Aegean or on the river?
On the Aegean.
On the Aegean.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I take it they don't take heavy earthquakes they used to have.
There was a devastating earthquake over towards the Syrian border, like a year or two ago. So, the whole area is seismically active, and in fact, recently, one of the resort islands in the Aegean, was evacuated because they were experiencing a lot of little tremors and they were afraid it was gonna add up to something. I forget what the name of it was exactly, but yeah, this is in the
Yeah.
news like about maybe a month ago
But they
or so.
haven't had quite the yeah, they had some really devastating ones,
Mhm.
in the 300, 400, yeah,
Yeah.
that level towns, or
Yeah.
they would go through a couple and just be like, we just can't.
Yeah, I mean, they don't happen like every day, of course, but when they do happen, they happen.
They're pretty
So,
serious.
yeah.
So, yeah, anyway, so that was a lot.
Yeah, we threw a lot at you there.
That was awesome.
Uh-huh.
Well
Any
done.
questions?
Kudos to you two.
Oh.
This is just day one. This
Alright,
is the
so-
presentation. Well, we got four more.
Makes us look forward to the rest.
But you didn't bring home a cat.
Cool.
It
I
was
just didn't
hard
bring home a
not to.
cat.
It was hard not to. They were so cute.
Everybody gets one to go?
Right.
No?
Right.
In the morning session, somebody said, you know, the cats don't look any different than they do here. No, they don't.
It was a Mary cat. You know what a Mary
Trout.
cat is? Do you know what a Mary cat is?
Mary?
The cat you showed has the M on her head?
Oh.
You know the story about Mary and when she has her baby and then the Mary cat's there and then and the cat that has the M on it was there when Jesus was born?
Oh,
And that's why
okay.
the M is on her head for Mary.
Huh.
Anyway, I
I
read
heard
a
that
story,
one.
there's like a whole little children's story all about
okay.
the M on the cat's
look
head, but
that up.
the first one you showed that had the M on
Had
it,
the
yeah,
M.
anyway, yeah, there's the M on the head.
I didn't think about it.
Yeah, what's
I was
the
called
main
Mary Cat. There
religion?
was- I haven't
Oh,
checked
yeah,
about
so,
it.
Turkey is so it's unique. It's a Muslim country,
Yeah, that's a really
but
cute little story.
mostly non-practicing. kind of like the US, we say, you know, a lot of people identify as Christian, but they're not practicing. So, and we'll touch on that more when we get to Istanbul.
There's plenty of mosques.
Plenty of mosques.
There,
Do you
there
hear the call
probably
to
is
worship? Do people
many of
stop
those
and
as there
do
are
anything?
churches.
No. We saw no burqas, no women wearing the complete coverings. We did see about 10% of the women did cover their hair all the time, but only about 10%. You're required when you go into a mosque as a woman to cover your hair. That was enforced, but really most of, I mean, the lack of.
Men had some requirements to go into a mosque too, if you're going in for prayer.
Yes, you had to,
So
supposed to
there's-
wash your feet.
There's the oblation, I think it's called.
Yeah, but did they go?
Did they go? Yeah.
Most people don't.
Was
Yeah.
Greece the same way, or?
Greece is predominantly
Greek Orthodox.
Catholic, you know, the
Yeah.
Orthodox, Greek Orthodox Church. And so they all are Greek Orthodox, but are they practicing? That, we'll talk about that. It's very interesting, the difference with Greek Orthodox to the Protestant Christianity that we experience
Yeah.
mostly.
Yeah.
So.
Any other questions?
My question is, seeing how we're talking that much about water, what about the sources of water?
Mm.
I mean, you could see how they transported it, but where did it come from? Was it from wells or?
Springs.
Springs.
They would use springs that they
Yeah.
knew were good, you know, were good
Right.
to drink, so they would transport it.
Right.
I mean, the aqueducts, they would try to bring the water to a city that was already established, things
Mhm.
like that. So, you know, they weren't, but sometimes the aqueducts would run miles and miles. I don't
Oh,
know, you
yeah.
might know better, Rhonda, from watching some.
I watched
Yeah.
this one thing on Rick Steves, and they actually are going through caves and whatever, and they actually like, there would be like all this stone going through, and they would like make like little places for the water to run and little like ditches through the, so they would bring waters from way far,
yeah.
If
far
they had to,
away.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
it's a
So-
mountainous country too,
Yeah, so
and
they
there's
would
snow on a
get
lot of those
water.
mountains, so they would rely on the runoff from those mountains to
Right.
Right,
feed those
right.
Supply.
the aqueducts, yeah.
Yeah, so, but yeah.
They show this place where they're just.
Any other questions?
Now, did you guys go to church anytime over there?
We, yes. In Greece, we'll talk about that when we do Greece. We actually went to a service there. We'll mention that.
We were in 2 mosques in Istanbul,
Yeah.
two of the most famous mosques that
Not
you've
for
probably heard
worship,
of.
but yeah.
We did go to a couple of Greek Orthodox services we did visit. And amongst our own group too, we did take a time to have our own worship service.
We had
in the
devotions
house, so.
every day, and then on Sundays, we did have communion services, one at a hotel. The other one was in, Corinth.
Corinth,
One
yeah.
was in Corinth.
Mhm.
That was pretty.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, anything else?
Yeah, back in the beginning, your verses that you cited, the one that had Paul and Barabbas. Now, was that the same Barabbas that the crowd saved when they sacrificed Jesus?
No, this is Barnabas.
Barnabas and
Oh, this was
Barabbas are
Barnabas.
two different people.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Barnabas and Barabbas, yeah. Barabbas was
Yeah.
was the criminal.
Yeah. So sometimes you hit on the same names as you go
Yeah.
through the
Well,
biblical
kinda
narrative.
like Herod,
And
you know, there's a
Yeah.
Herod
Oh, yeah.
in Jesus' birth story, and there's a Herod at the end, at the crucifixion, but they're two different Herods. Yeah,
there's a Herod in Acts too that we've discovered.
Yes.
True,
Yeah.
right,
yeah, different Herods. So, they were related.
All those columns,
Hmm.
were they stone carved or were they concrete?
They were
Depended on the location.
Depending on the location. Granite was very expensive, so so they would put like granite on the outside of stuff, and they would put cheaper stone on the inside. But they would also make a concrete, cause we learned this morning from
Yeah.
one of the people who was there. She said they mix,
Volcanic ash into the concrete,
into
yeah.
the concrete, and that Roman concrete was really sturdier than the stuff we have today. That's what she, yeah, and I'm pretty sure she knew what she was talking
Now,
about.
was
Yeah.
that to make mortar for between the blocks, or was that to actually make some of these?
To make the columns, yeah, to make the columns, yeah. They also had mortar, I mean, yeah, they did have mortar to put things together, of
Because
course.
then the columns look like they have joints.
Yeah.
They do.
Oh, yeah, he
Yeah.
showed us the one, they would use metal, was it metal?
I think it was lead or something like that.
Lead
That
or
they,
something.
and you'll see that in another week. That
There's
there's
another
this
week.
little notch
A notch
in,
where
in,
the.
in the
to help
column
keep the
that they would
columns, yeah.
put the columns together, put some lead in there, and then that was sort of like the bonding agent that they think kept them together.
Yeah.
Took
Yeah,
varying
that's-
degrees of success over
That
time.
was-
But, yeah.
I think, was that in Greece, we saw that?
That's in
It was
Greece, yeah.
explained to us,
Yeah, I think that was Philippi.
Philippi, yeah, yeah, Brian.
Were the other people on your tour group, were they from all over the US?
They were mostly from the Northeast and down around Virginia. So, there were, 1/3 of them were seminary students in different stages of the process, but all different ages. Like, we were probably right in the middle of.
We were in the
age.
middle, yeah.
Yeah.
I believe we had the farthest to come. Well,
We were
one
the
of the people that
furthest
had the
away
farthest
from
to come to get to the
Dulles.
airport. Yeah.
We were the furthest away distance-wise, but then there were a couple clergy couples. There were 2 church groups that came from 2 different churches with their pastor and their pastor spouses. And there was the seminary professors, 2 of them, so yeah.
Yeah.
It was a fun group.
By the end of your trip, then you got to know some of the people.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Very well.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
Yep,
pretty well.
Definitely. So, anything else?
Was there any trouble with the transportation, like the bus breaking down
Oh.
Got any
No.
flat tire stories?
When,
No.
And I
Can't
apologize,
right
because
away.
we'll touch on this again,
Okay.
but we did in Greece, we hit a day with a snowstorm.
Oh,
And our bus driver could not get to the destination we were gonna go to. We were supposed to go to the most visited monastery, which we'll talk about. And we couldn't, he said he just didn't feel safe taking the bus up, cause there was like 5-6 inches of snow. And it was pretty treacherous, yeah, so.
Oh, it was also a steep mountain, winding
Right.
road, and like,
I mean, it
if you
wasn't-
slid off, you may not have seen us again. Yeah, one of those.
The monastery, some of them.
make the
closed.
airplane ride, but then slide off a bus.
Yeah, right. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know.
they didn't have
So.
snowplows going.
Well,
They
It's like
did
ice
have the
road
snowplows
truckers.
out, but they,
after we got up there. Yeah.
yeah, it was not a highly trucked area, so it wasn't a priority.
Yep.
But yeah, and it was off-season, so.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that was the only time. We were lucky.
So did you have some of them roads where you're riding, you're looking like down,
Not
you're
as
not as
bad
as other places?
when he
Here or
did
there?
his Israel trip.
Okay.
He had a lot of that.
Oh my
In
gosh,
Mexico,
yeah.
there was a couple places, I'm telling you, you were in bus, you thought you were on that ice road trucking thing, you're looking down thinking, oh Lord,
Oh, the whole bridge.
thank God there's a God, because yeah, you're
Yeah.
looking down in places that are like, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's,
yeah.
it's scary. Our drivers were really good. I think
Yeah,
our
they're-
Turkish driver was really good.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
He was spot on, but it was funny because we had to change buses. We couldn't have the same bus in Greece and Turkey. We couldn't have the same driver. We couldn't have the same guide.
Oh.
We had to trade all of that for both. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. So that was interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. Laws, permits, all that kind of
Laws.
stuff.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
And in Turkey, our guide was telling us, you're pretty safe here because of the laws are so strict with pickpocketing. People wouldn't risk it. She would warn us, she said there's the occasion, when we're in Istanbul though, it's a little different, you gotta be a little more careful, but everywhere else we were. She's like, you're safe here, and I'm like, we are. But there's a lot more law enforcement in Turkey. We saw them everywhere in Turkey. You go to Greece and I'm like, I hadn't seen a cop in days.
Yeah.
Is there even police? I have no idea.
Well, we saw them in Athens.
In Athens.
Yeah,
in the little
that
cop
we'll
car.
show you that one.
Yeah, we'll show you the
when we
tiny
get there.
cop car.
Oh
in
my
Athens.
gosh.
It's the cutest little.
It was the
thing.
scene out of the Muppet Show.
Like it's, yeah, we have a picture of that.
Yeah,
So,
but
yeah.
anyway, yeah, so I guess that wraps us up for tonight then, yeah.
What are
Thank
those
you.
things you have up on display?
Oh, so if you wanna look at them, we'll have them every week. Rick likes books. And, so this one's like they're superimposed. These are to agree. This is, we're gonna talk about Pergamum and Troy and in one of our other sessions coming up. And so, but yeah, these are some of the things. We'll point them out when we get to the sites. So, yeah, they're pretty cool. But you can feel free to look at them before you leave today,
Yep.
if you want a free look.
Exactly.
Well, let's do the Lord's Prayer. Those who want to can stand up. Those who don't have to.
I need to stand up.
That's why
Oh, after all that, yeah.
Sitting's not good for me. I get too tired this time of day.
My hip has been yelling at me.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven.
Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. And just to show you where we're going next week.
Next week, mountaintop experiences, which, yeah, you'll see more water, you'll see, but yeah.
More water. Yes.
And
I'm
mountaintop
coming back for
together.
that stuff.